Good morning. Welcome to the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars. I want to thank you for braving our wintry mix to be here. It is a pleasure for the Wilson Center to welcome Foreign Minister Ali Ahmed Karti of the Republic of Sudan to the Wilson Center. I would also like to recognize the presence of General Scott Gratian, the Special Envoy for the United States to Sudan, as well as Ambassador Alan Golty, former British ambassador to Sudan and current senior scholar at the Wilson Center. Ambassador Golty also serves as co-chair of the Center's working group on Sudan. Nuruddin Sati, the former senior Sudanese diplomat, serves as the other co-chair. He is out of the country and could not be with us today. And I also want to recognize Hadi Babbitt, who's here and is a member of the Wilson Council. I'm Mike Van Dusen, Executive Vice President of the Wilson Center, and I'm now acting Director of the Center. The Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars is the national living memorial to the 28th President of the United States. In providing an essential link between the worlds of ideas and public policy, the Center addresses current and future challenges confronting the nation and the world. The Center promotes policy-relevant research and dialogue to increase understanding and be instrumental in enhancing the capabilities and knowledge of leaders, citizens, and institutions worldwide. Created by an act of Congress 42 years ago, the Center is a nonpartisan institution supported by public and private funds. In seeking to bring a wide spectrum of people together to discuss critical issues of the day, we have the confident hope that from dialogue on public policy issues, participants can learn from each other. The work of all can be enriched, and better understanding and better policy can emerge. Through close to 800 meetings a year and the presence of over 150 scholars during the course of a year, scholars coming from all over the world, the Center's work and its scholarship commemorates the ideals and concerns of Woodrow Wilson. Foreign Minister Karti became Foreign Minister a year ago. In the previous decade, he served in important positions as a member of Sudan's National Assembly and then Minister of State in the Ministry of Justice, and following that, Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He's a graduate of the Faculty of Law at the University of Khartoum. I believe that Foreign Minister Karti visited the United States a year ago on an official visit. We do welcome him back. It is a pleasure for me to turn over the podium to Steve McDonald, the Consulting Director of the Center's Africa Program and its program on leadership and building state capacity. Steve has brought enormous leadership to the Wilson Center. We deeply appreciate his many contributions. Steve will moderate this session. I know we will have a productive meeting. Steve, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mike, and good morning, everyone. Now, normally my role would be to sort of do a scene setter or something, but I'm not going to do that today because about everyone in this audience knows more about Sudan than I do. And I'm sure we're all very, very anxious to get to the Foreign Minister's remarks. We all know, of course, the referendum has taken place, and its results will be announced soon. We know that there's many, many issues of the CPA, the 2005 Comprehensive Peace Agreement, which still have to be worked out in terms of border demarcation, oil revenues, and other things. We know there's a question still about Abyei and South Kordofan and many other issues that are before us. And I'm sure the Foreign Minister will be enlightening us on those. And we will have, as is the culture here at the Woodrow Wilson Center, some time for questions and answers at the end of his remarks, his formal remarks. The Foreign Minister has been very gracious in accepting to do that. So we will get to some issues that he might not even cover. So we welcome you. Thank you for coming on this snowy and slushy day. And with no further ado, let me turn it over to the Foreign Minister.
Thank you. Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let me at first extend my thanks to the Director of Woodrow Wilson Center and for availing this opportunity to speak to you and to the Center about the situation in Sudan in this very important juncture of time in the history of the country. And I thank you all for attending this event. It's very important now to know about Sudan in these very important days when the referendum is over and the results are now being prepared for declaration, and we hope the best in the following week and next days. It's time to turn a new page in U.S.-Sudan relations. Sudan's historic quest for peace, which 6 years ago culminated in the signing of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement, CPA, has reached its defining moment with the recent conduct of Southern Sudan referendum. An exercise with citizens in the region had to decide whether to maintain Sudan's unity or secede to form a new nation. The results of this extraordinary vote will shortly be announced by the Commission in charge. And as made very clear by His Excellency President Bashir during his visit to Juba, the outcome of is one to be honored and embraced as a fundamental proclamation of peaceful future in Sudan. It's an enormous achievement of the Sudanese led by the two parties who spent countless hours locked in exhausting deliberations for years. It was primarily our will and yearn for peace that brought this moment to bear. For it must be recalled that the North-South war started long before the present government took office. It even precedes Sudan's independence from the colonial British. Yet it is this government that in the end possessed the political will to embark on decades-long peace process with SPLM. And it is this government that courageously embraced the right of self-determination as a viable recourse of bringing about a lasting peace. And for sure, that with the assistance of some friends around the country, and for sure U.S. Was one of them. With the successful conduct of a referendum, the Sudanese have fulfilled an essential obligation. As far as the word expectations go, we have delivered, and thus our commitment to peace should never be in question. There are certainly outstanding issues, which include the post-referendum issues. Abyei is one of them. Abyei should be considered as a place where South and North would come again, like other outstanding issues. These issues are border demarcation, oil resources, water resources, and citizenship and debts. When you look to those issues, you will find out there is a possibility of making of those visits, those issues, visiting back to the unity of the country. But nevertheless, if we don't talk about unity now, let us talk about cooperation between South and North on those issues. The borders are places between South and North, and they are the places where more than a third of the population of the country are living on either side. And they are the places where pasture, water, and everything is available for nomads. And they are the place where people used to go south and north. And also they are the place where trade and everything will pass through to the south or to the north. So we can make those issues of coming again to visit our at least if it is unity, a kind of cooperation between South and North. And I'm sure so many people think that it will not be easy for us to break a deal. But when we look back to the situation before we conclude this agreement, war was there for decades. It was easy for Sudanese to break this big deal. It will be also more easier for them to break a deal when there is a need for each side, from each side to the other side, in which we call interdependence. So interdependence may lead us also to a kind of agreement on soft borders, where it will be easy for everybody to do his to live his natural life on the borders, whether working here or there, or whether he is a nomad, or whether he is a settler, and life will be easy if we can break a deal of soft borders. Darfur has been another challenge, and for sure it is very important now. We have to focus on Darfur, and by now where the obstacle lies is clear in Darfur issue. The whole world knows the government was available at any time. Whenever there is call for talks, the government was available, whether in Abuja, whether in Sirte, whether in sometimes there was a call in Addis, Asmara. At last now we are in Doha. We were in Doha, and the process is now domesticated inside, but we are also open. We are open for talks. So the challenge and the obstacle lies in the other side, where some of them come, and when sometimes they come, they even split into more small fractions. So we have to work together with all those who are working for peace in the world, and especially in Darfur, on this very issue of trying to bring those who do not want to talk and those who do not want to sit down and consider the situation of their people and their country. And the government had for some time been under focus and under blames here and there. It is time for everybody to think again whether the government is doing its best or not. Yet, despite these challenges that remain, the near conclusion of the implementation phase of the CPA deserves to be celebrated. We commend members of the international community who have worked to ensure success in this endeavor. The engagement of certain actors has been key in not only facilitating a conducive environment of negotiations, but also providing an extra push to the parties whose commitment was at times tested during the grueling process. The United States has particularly played an important role throughout, and Sudan acknowledges the enormous impact it had made in bringing this moment to realization. However, such gestures of goodwill are invariable when we look to the endeavors that had been by the envoys and everybody who is sent from this country to join the process there, and it's easy to go on the same road and conclude the outstanding issues. It's high time we turn a new page in U.S.-Sudan relations, an era that must begin with the removal of the latter from the list of state sponsors of terrorism and lifting of these completely unjust sanctions, which for nearly 2 decades have reacted the havoc on the Sudanese people and their economy. The pretext of this imposition by the admission of U.S. officials themselves was never founded on empirical truth, and their preparation today is reasoned and ad hoc and ever-moving goalposts often adorned with the slogans of interest of peace. So rather than moving the goals, let us stick to the goals now, and we work together to get to those goals. And this is a call for working together hand in hand to work on Darfur issue, rather than waiting here and sending instructions and sending blames. It's good that we work again as we have worked throughout the conclusion of the agreement of the CPA and throughout the implementation of the agreement. We have seen what we can do and the achievements that had happened throughout the cooperation between us, and it is time to benefit from that cooperation in the CPA to again begin a cooperation on the question of Darfur. Normalization of relations should not be hostage by Darfur. And for this reason, we are working to normalize the situation in Darfur in working for peace and in humanitarian side, and availing the opportunity for peacekeepers to do their job. The other side of the matter is working for the development of that region. We have now begun a scheme of 4 years development by a budget for more than 4.9 billion US dollars to be spent in Darfur on development on the development scheme. We are stretching hands for whoever is ready to join that process, and to cut off any reason for talking about the need of development in Darfur and the need of facilities for the people to live normally in the region. We are ready, and we stretch our hands, and we hope this will be the time when we work together, rather than keeping this distance and waiting for each side to do its own job. After all, we are the ones that enjoy the fruits of peace, and for sure we know what the insecurity means in our country, and what resources we have lost throughout the conflict, whether in the south or in Darfur, and what lives and how many lives we lost during the conflict, whether in the south or in Darfur. And for this reason also, I would also call for a joint work together in Darfur, like what, as I said, like what we had done in the south, so as to get the same fruits and benefits as we got from the south. It is quite obvious that interests of the two countries are best served through a mutual and friendly cooperation, and there are many illustrations of this. Not least amongst those are the joint counter-terrorism efforts, where Sudan has proven itself indispensable in averting terrorist threats to U.S. interests in the region. And this is a long history. This is not the place where we can detail on that, but everybody who is concerned by this knows what Sudan has done in cooperation of fighting terrorism in the region and in elsewhere. Similarly, we have also the past benefited. In the past, we have benefited from the assistance that had been given to our people in the time of drought in the 80s of the last century, when people were in need of assistance. United States was there, and that is a non-forgettable incident. Sudanese people yet remember what U.S. has done for them throughout that people when they needed support. So if we have these bright incidents here and there, let us build on them, let us benefit from this history of cooperation, and we are opening hands, and we are here to stretch our hands to begin a new page of relations between our two countries. We have seen a great deal of improvement in the situation when we work together. In fact, under Obama administration, and it is its foreign policy that places emphasis on dialogue, particularly with the Islamic world, a lot of progress had been made. In this incident, this is in contrast to the previous administrations, when we suffered from unnecessarily hostile conduct towards Sudan and the area, and with Scott Grayson as a special envoy leading engagement with Sudan, a healthy atmosphere began to emerge that enabled us to overcome many difficulties and make significant achievements with regard to the implementation of the CPA and post-referendum discussions, and also in so many incidents we were able to work together to ease the situation, normalize it in Darfur, and work together in the humanitarian assistance dimensions, and also easing so many problems that arose throughout the period between the players in Darfur. This was encouraging to both President Bashir and first Vice President Salva Kiir, who reciprocated the positive signals and made clear their readiness to accept the results of the referendum. With the mediation of Scott Grayson, they became closer and closer, and they found so many commonalities that brought them together again to speak about the possibility of making all these impossibilities, as some people think, possible, and the result is now under the focus of everybody. The referendum is there. We are waiting also. We are waiting only for the declaration of the results of the referendum. And in Darfur also the situation can be said to have shown signs of improvement due to this positive shift and constructive engagement from the administration. And as I told you, in so many cases we were able to overcome some difficulties with the assistance of Scott Grayson. He is here, and I'm obliged to say these words, and I can never pass on these issues without praising his efforts and endeavors to bring even Sudanese together rather than bringing others together. It is therefore time for U.S. to commit fully and redouble its efforts and join hands with the international community to assist the government of Sudan in stabilizing and resolving the situation in Darfur instead of making it a condition for normalizing relations with Sudan. It's very important now. We have to make Darfur a place of positive engagement rather than making it a conditionality to the normalization of Sudan. And I hope this will be also under the guidance of what we had achieved throughout our cooperation in South-North peace agreement, and the implementation and the outcome now everybody is waiting for. And to me this is a time of glory that we all celebrate what is happening now in Sudan. It is time for our brothers in the south to celebrate the result of the referendum, and it is time for the north also to celebrate the agreement and the readiness to do anything that keeps our people in the south and in the north in peace rather than in clashes and problems. And it is time also for US here and other friends to celebrate what they had done throughout this cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Foreign Minister. It certainly is an exciting time, and a time when we all owe you North and South congratulations for a remarkably well-run referendum. We all look forward to the results. We are now going to open for questions. Let me remind the audience that we are being broadcast, we are being webcast live. So when I recognize you, please wait for a microphone to be delivered and identify yourself to the Foreign Minister. I will take 2 or 3 questions at a time, Foreign Minister. I think that might be better. We have about 20 minutes. So let us begin with the hand right here.
Hodari Abdul Ali, Give Peace a Chance Coalition. Assalamu alaikum, Foreign Minister. Welcome to the United States. In hindsight, why do you feel unity wasn't, quote unquote, made attractive enough? And do you feel the international community worked hard enough to make unity attractive, or do you feel that, you know, there was a big push, you know, to encourage separation? And the other question is, what would be a fair settlement for Abiy?
Okay, we'll take one other question, and let me ask, please, that you limit yourselves to one question and do not make statements. Next person right here. The microphone is right there, sir.
Thank you, Abdullah Babikir from Blue Nile. Mr. Karti, he forget to say people from Blue Nile celebrate for referendum too. We don't have any relationship with you, Mr. Karti. You know that we have the Blue Nile own country, Sinnar in Blue Nile. We don't have any relationship. The people from South Blue Nile, it's not Muslim. People from Blue Nile eat ham, eat pork. You cannot say Umar al-Bashir, take your Holy Bible or Quran, say people from Blue Nile, Allah say, don't eat pork or ham, and then we be Muslim. You cannot say to people from South Blue Nile, speak Arabic, or you don't have your belief, you don't believe your mountain.
Okay, sir, what is your question?
Yeah, just I want to say, we want to tell him, we people from Blue Nile, South Blue Nile in Sinnar, we, from today, we here, I am representing people from Blue Nile in the United States, and then we need our own country. Tell your Umar al-Bashir, you have people from Blue Nile, our own country, we're going to cut everything.
Okay, I think that's very clear. Thank you very much for your remark. And please, limit it to a question. My next hand is right here, and then we'll let the Foreign Minister respond.
What lesson did you learn?
You are, sir? Identify yourself.
Oh, my name is Abdul Suleiman. What lesson did you learn from the events in Tunisia?
Very good. Okay, I think those are some good questions to begin on, Mr. Foreign Minister. Starting with unity made attractive question.
Well, I thank you for raising these questions. Why unity was not attractive? To me, unity was attractive, but it had never been given a chance to be attractive. You know, voices from here and there, and the time was spent on quarrels and problems, rather than, you know, availing opportunity for the people to think over and over what will be the good future of their country. Was it in unity, or was it in secession? But nevertheless, this may be not the right time to talk about history. Let us talk about what we can do if the South Sudan secedes. What can we do with regard to the neighborhood, good neighborhood, cooperation between the two states, and so many commonalities arise there, which tell us we have to sit down again and again and use these issues of post-referendum issues, as I said, as issues that would invite us again to sit down and make them a hub or a base for working for a new good situation between two good neighbors that benefit from each other. So it may not be the right time to talk about history now. And it may be also sometimes, incurring some injuries here and there. We do not want to go into that this time. We have a lot to celebrate, and Hodari let the history now, and it may be good to write something in the future as how things were not handled in the right way. And for a BA, to me it was good and it was wise to be set aside from the process throughout the referendum, South-North referendum, because if we insisted on talking on that issue throughout the last month, it may not be able for us even to conduct the referendum. So the atmosphere was very positive. Everybody focused on the referendum, and it was set aside, not to be ignored, but to be given a time better than the time it was discussed, because tensions arose here and there, and the intensity of media being there throughout the referendum also gave a chance to people to speak to each other, rather than availing the opportunity for the two parties to sit down away from the media, to talk away from the media and agree on the issues and come up with an agreement like what happened in the CPA itself. So I would say it's good that it was set aside now, but for sure after the declaration of the results of the referendum, it will be easy for the two parties to sit down together and to seek any solution that may keep the country safe and away from tensions. And for sure, and I assure you, no war would rise again on a BA or any other issue. That is not because a BA is not important, but because we knew our way. We knew how to tackle things, we knew how to discuss our problems, and if we are available and we have this, this determination of keeping our two sides away from any tensions, and this determination of not to go back to war, this will lead us for sure to a good conclusion at the end. And I'm sure the population there on the ground has their wisdom. They can also contribute to the solution of this problem. With regard to the Blue Nile, in the agreement, in the CPA agreement, there is a popular consultation, and it is underway. And for sure, the people of the Blue Nile have the right to say what they want throughout the future, and you don't have to have any. You don't need to have any representation in the United States or anywhere, or in the United Nations even, to speak about a matter now laid down to the people to say their word. So the people of the Blue Nile will freely say their word, and the leadership, fortunately enough for you, is now from the SPLM. So you don't worry, the people of Blue Nile will have the right to say what the future of their place will be. With regard also to the lessons learned from Tunisia, this is a good question. Tunisia had never been a poor country, and the people of Tunisia had never been, begging anything from our side. The country is good, the revenues are good, everything is fine, and the life is nice there, and incomes are good there, but there was suppression there. Nobody can do anything. You cannot write, you cannot read, you don't have any access to the internet, you cannot do anything, you cannot say any word with regard to the leadership, and you cannot even go to the mosque twice a day. You cannot go to another mosque that you don't have a card to pray in. You cannot build a new mosque. So if you are a Muslim, you cannot do the things that your Islam tells you to do. And if you are not a good Muslim, even you cannot do the things your faith or your way of life tells you what to do. So there is no freedom. This is the reason why Tunisia broke out. Me in Sudan, I have more than 50 papers. None of them is a part of the government. None of them. You can tell me maybe a right is near to the government. It is near also. It is near, yes, to the government. But it is not at all part of the government. More than 50 papers. And broadcast in the radio. And broadcast in the TV. And there are more than 26 parties registered according to the law. And there was an election, a general elections, in 8 steps in the south and in 6 steps in the north. Last April. Everything is fine in Sudan. You cannot at all connect anything in Tunisia with anything in Sudan.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we have time for only 3 more questions, one more round. I'll begin with the gentleman in the blue shirt there.
Thank you. Jok Madud Jok, United States Institute of Peace. Thank you, Your Excellency, for your remarks. Even though the North-South conflict had been extremely complex, we still were able to identify some of the main problems. Some of those problems, even though now South is likely to break away, will remain to exist in the North, including the issues of identity. So when President al-Bashir addresses a gathering and tells them that the remaining Sudan, the North, will now be working towards homogenization, to become more Arab, to become more Islamic, with the application of Sharia law, aren't you playing with the same fire that you played with in regards to the South? How are you going to unite your remaining part of the country if the rhetoric is one that keeps pushing away people, the Darfuris, the Nubians, everybody? How can Sudan be an Arab country? And focusing on identifying that with that feature of the people is what pushes away the people of the South. And if you can continue to do the same thing, I think it is going to be a problem for the North.
Okay, thank you very much. I want us all to emulate our friend who asked the Tunisian question and make it short and precise. Okay, the lady in the red.
Hi, I'm Maria Pozzi, and I'm a student interested in this issue and also interested in the UN. Your Excellency, if you wouldn't mind speaking to the effect of UNAMID and also UNMISS in the South, and what role you see the UN playing in North's development, and what the UN could do to help facilitate the CPA or the implementation of the CPA. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, I had one question way at the back. The lady at the back row. Yes, just a moment. And
mine's a quick one, too. I'm Lauren Magahi from the Asahi Shimbun. It's a Japanese newspaper. Thank you for being here, Mr. Foreign Minister. My question is, you gave your view on porous borders, maybe being soft borders, maybe being a little bit better. What's your view on citizenship in the future? Should people be able to move more freely between the North and South? Thank you.
okay, and I'm sorry, but that's going to be all we have time for. I know we always leave a lot of questions lying out there, but Foreign Minister will take these last three, and we're going to have to quit.
Good, thank you. With regard to the identity, it had never been at all a problem between South and North, the identity. It had never. It is only in the minds of those who have their education outside the country. Those who were living in the country, your people there, your local people there, your sultans and your people there had never any problem of identity. And when we talk about Sudan as an African country or as an Arab country, or we call it Arab African country, that doesn't mean that the country is Arab or African. when you hear somebody having a microphone and talking to the people and saying some words that you are building on, you have to give them, the doubt of the benefit of the right thing he wants to say. The President Bashir has never said that Islam is banning others, and he had never said Arabs are banning others. But you yourself, when you go to the south, you cannot speak to the people by this English language. Do you? You can't. No, to the people, to the local people. Do you speak to the local people in English language? You don't. You speak to them by their local language. But you, as one from one tribe, you cannot speak to another tribe by your English or by your local tribe language. Can you? The only language that could be used between tribes across the tribes in Sudan is Arabic language. They call it. No, that's true. That's true. You cannot, as Dinka, speak to Morley. How can you speak between Dinka and Morley? You can't. You can't. You have to use local Arabic language. I am not saying this to say that Arabic language. No. Don't make it a point. But that means there is something we can share together. That means I am going back to the point to say that there is something that we can share together, not only for the history but for the future. But with regard to the remarks of President Bashir, I tell you, President Bashir had never at all, even in the CPA, decided to compel the Southerners to speak Arabic language, or even to state that in the Constitution or in the CPA. Secondly, President Bashir has never at all imposed Sharia law on the South before the agreement or after and during the implementation of the agreement. And I'm sure that you are taking this word out of their context. Everybody knows we have Nubians there. Everybody knows there are other languages there. Everybody knows there are faces there. And the coexistence that is happening in Sudan, you will not find it anywhere. Look at the world around us. Nothing of the like is happening around us. And I tell you, this is not at all our culture to tell the people that you don't have cultures. And even if you turn on Omdurman TV, you will find this culture there, whether Muslim, non-Muslim, whether Arabic, non-Arabic. With regard to UNIMID and UNMIS, this is very important. For sure, UNIMID came to Sudan according to an agreement between Sudan government and the United States and the United Nations. And it is renewable according to the need of the existence of those troops in Darfur. But with regard to UNMIS, UNMIS is only for the south, and it ends up with the implementation of the CPA and the end up of the interim period on the 9th of July. Unless if brothers in the south think it's better for them to keep UNMIS for more period, it is their right that day to decide whether or not to host UNMIS in their new state. With regard to North development, yes, there is a role for UNMID, and it is stated in the agreement that the UNIMID has a role in the development of Darfur, and it was called quick recovery and development. That is very simple type of developments like schooling, water resources, health care, anything like that, and even repairing the airports that are used by the UNMIS airlines, and something of the like. But unfortunately, till now, we had never seen something like that on the ground. We had been calling for this for the last 2 or 3 months, and we are waiting for them to bring up any kind of ideas as how can the UNIMID help in the development of Darfur, not the north. With regard also to the soft borders, yes, it is the idea and the determination of the two parties till now to work on soft borders. So far as I'm working for soft borders, that means I mean to make it easy for the people from the south to go to the north without having visas, maybe some cars or anything, very simple thing, like what had been for some time between Sudan and Egypt. It will be easy for the people from the north to go to the south likewise. It will be more easy for the people who are living on the borders just to transfer here and there without any need to go back to have visa or any kind of permission. And if the situation is like this, citizenship will not be a problem at all, because you can be a citizen of the north living in the south on the same on the same at the same right that is given to the southerners living in the north, and you don't need to have a citizenship or a citizenship from another place. You can keep your citizenship, but it will be easy for you to move, work, earn a living, even have your education. Maybe the political rights will be restricted, but it's not a problem. If you want to enjoy your political rights, it's easy. You can go back to the country, your country, and contribute to voting or to any elections or anything. But the whole life, other than this political right, will be easy, and people from south or north will enjoy living anywhere they want. So we are looking for an opportunity to make this easy and possible, and with the assistance of mediators who are working for this, we hope we can agree on this before the end of the interim period on the 9th of July 2011. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Foreign Minister. Before we thank the Foreign Minister, let me please make a request for you all to stay seated while the Foreign Minister and his immediate party depart through the door, just so we can get them out of the building. So thank you very much. Join me in thanking the Foreign Minister.